Hey, thanks for joining me. This is going to be a short one. I just want to talk about a little bit about these RestoMod realistic MC-1201s that I just finished, as well as an upcoming project. But anyway, let's get into the MC-1201. All right, so this MC-1201 project, what this consisted of was basically, the original speaker. It's almost probably close to 35, 40 years old. And then what I did was basically gutted it. There's already one brace inside, so I didn't bother putting another brace. I did insulation, I did sound deadening pads. I also put in a Dayton Designer Series 8-inch woofer and a Peerless 1-inch tweeter, as well as a second order two-way crossover. And I put this felt on the front of the cabinet here. A couple of 5-way binding posts in the back. New wiring, I believe it was 16 gauge oxygen-free wire. So that's what's in them now. But I've been listening to these now close to, well, it's several days now. I'm really impressed with the way that they sound. I do have some plans though to make them better, and I want to talk to you about that. Right now, I'm running a second order two-way crossover that is supposed to be 3,500 technically. Now, I'll be honest with you, I get these things off of seller on eBay. I know you're already laughing. I can hear it. But anyway, no, they're decent. It's decent stuff. But I think what this seller does is he buys like overstock from actual manufacturers and OEM, and then resells whatever it is. But they look like probably they go into, I don't know, some kind of a mass market, kind of middle to high end speaker, I would say. They're on a decent PCB board. They're rated for high wattage. They have air coil inductors. It's got a poly cap for the tweeter. They're sounding amazing. But I think that they could do more. I think that they can sound even better. I've been listening to these for a few days now. I really, really like them. Right now, it's the woofer and the tweeter hooked up. Positive polarity on the tweeter, positive polarity on the woofer, going to the second order two-way. The frequency response, the first frequency response I did was pretty good. And it basically has like on the bass area, it's kind of got a hump about 80 hertz and dives down. So I've got kind of a little bit of a gully from say 100 to 200 in that octave. And I want to try to pick that up. I want to try to get that to shine a little more. There's a couple different things I can do to try to improve that. One is to improve the efficiency of the woofer itself. And I know it's going to change the sound of the speaker. If I port it, it will actually meet the recommended specifications, like say from Parts Express, which call for like a 0.5 cubic foot with a vent, and I think frequency range box tuning of like 58 hertz. So I'll try to replicate that. I think what that will do, it may still have a bump on the bottom end, but it should pick up that whole bottom end a little bit more. So it may still have the same sound characteristic on the bottom end, just that it's going to be a little bit louder. The other thing that I want to try though, before the port, because I will have to, put a hole in the cabinet. I'm going to try some Zobels in here. They've worked for me on several projects now really well, especially when using these unknown or off-the-shelf crossovers. So I do have my Zobel components for these drivers. So this is basically like when I run this through a calculator, a Zobel network calculator, for this 8-inch designer woofer, it should have a capacitor value of 23.78 and a resistor value of 7.25. And rather than having that impedance vary, okay, what this does is it allows it to just equalize so that it's always going to have a consistent impedance, which is better for the crossover. You can have a more controlled or more, say, consistent crossover, but it also helps with the solid state amps as well, because for whatever reason the solid state amps are kind of finicky, and they tend to look at loads a little bit differently than tube amps. And I've never been a tube amp guy, so I don't know what having a tube amp is like. But so Zobels help. They definitely have helped on 3 projects. So I've got my parts for the woofer, I got my parts for the tweeter right here. When we're doing Zobels, it's really hard to get close to these values. Like this one, it's looking for a capacitor value 1.344, and then there was some change on that too, and a resistor of 8.625. So it's hard to find, you'd need a lot of components to try to combine to make these exact values. And to be completely honest with you, since all we're trying to do is create impedance equalization, just trying to make this as kind of a consistent load as possible so that playback is always consistent. And so getting close enough works for me, and it's less expensive. All right, so that being said, so my capacitor value here, 1.344. Actually, what I wound up finding is a 1.5. I don't know if you can see that on there. It's a 1.5. And these are just acting as a bypass, so they don't have to be super expensive. I still buy decent ones, but they're not expensive. Now the resistor value, 8.625. Again, I'm going to get close to that. Here's what I wound up with was an 8 ohm resistor and a 0.51. Okay, so that'll give me 8.5 ohms, and that will get me pretty darn close to my 8.6. Capacitor value for the woofer, 23.78. All right, well, I'm not going to do a whole lot of messing around here, so I just got 22s. And then the resistance, 7.25. That one I found a 7.5 ohm resistor for. So close enough. Of course, if the frequency results are fine, I might just be happy with that. But I still think that these things got more bass output in them. I think that they could raise the efficiency a little bit too on the bottom end with the bass reflex port. It really sounds like these are a bit restrained, like over damped, especially. And this is like a crazy stiff little woofer. It's really better suited to a vented enclosure. I mean, it's like completely, like I use a thing called box light. It's an app. And yeah, it shows you on a slider scale kind of where it should be at, whether it should be in a closed box or a vented box. And this driver is like way over on the vented side. It's really being restrained, I think. I think that with a port, any concern about control, electrical or mechanical, it's not going to be an issue. But, I do dig the way that they sound now, but like I say, I mean, I think that they could be better. So I want to work on those a little bit. All right, so that's the MC-1201. Next project, very exciting, very exciting. Going to show you that. All right, so the realistic MC-800 is a pretty cool little speaker. I managed to find these for steel locally. And oh, MC-600, I'm sorry. Wow, did I goof up on that one? Yeah, MC-600. Anyway, same kind of vintage era that this speaker is. A 6.5 inch two-way. So this is their 6.5 inch woofer, and I believe this tweeter is probably the same exact tweeter that was in the MC-1201 and these MC-1801s. Yeah, 1800s. They got so many different model numbers. All right. Well, anyway, that's the cool thing. These are the next ones I'm going to try. So first thing I'll do, probably open them up. I know one of them has something rattling in it. Might be the other one. These little screw terminals here, what I found is that I can just swap out these with 5-way binding posts super easy. That was in my last video. Cool little hack, and I'll show you that in the video for these. Let's see, what else can I tell you about these? So the driver that I'm going to go with in these, I'm going to do the same deal with the felt on the front, ported. This is the baby port for it. Well, I've got a Peerless tweeter that I'm going to put in here. I don't know, I'm pretty sure this is the tweeter I'm going to use in here. I have several of these. They're really cool little tweeter, and they sound nice. The 3/4 inch. So it's either this one, or I do have another one too. It's a Vifa tweeter, 3/4 inch 6 ohm. That one would need a bigger cutout though, so I don't know. We'll see about that. I actually had thoughts about trying to turn this into a micro Mach 1, like the mini Mach 1s that I made here. So I have another set of these horns, and I was going to put this horn in here, but the problem is it won't, stick out. Won't make this grill fit real well. I'd have to modify the grill. I don't know. It's still a thought. It would be super cool. I mean, and it's all set and ready to go, and it does fit on there really well. So this would go from almost side to side, so it would actually look a lot like the old Mach 1s did, where the horn went all the way across it. I don't know. It's a possibility. It's just, it doesn't fit inside of this grill super great. I would almost have to modify this grill in such a way where it would look like a Mach 1 with kind of the half grill or 3/4 grill. So I imagine it could be done. I could probably cut through here, take a chunk out, lower this, put the fabric back on. But man, that's a lot of work. I don't know if I want to go to all that trouble. All right, what else? Oh, the woofer for it. I haven't even seen this yet. I really am interested to see. What model is this? DS175-8. Here it is. Yeah, that looks really sharp. That's a cool looking little woofer. These 5 holes kill me. It's funny. Why 5? Why 5? Oh, this one comes with a little gasket too, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's it, man. Thanks for joining me and hanging out with me as I work on old speakers. If you dig this kind of content, please, share it. Give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button, whatever. I just got a thing from YouTube, came to my email, and they're inviting me to be a YouTube partner with just, gosh, what is it? I think I need another 40 subscribers or something like that. So shoot, if you know anybody that might subscribe, hey, send it out for me. You'll do me a great big favor. So yeah, next video, I'm going to be really focusing on this one and doing some more kind of in-depth measuring. And with the Zobels, with the port, to do that port, that's a big deal. I gotta pull out the drivers and the insulation and, drill a hole and all that stuff. So anyway, I'll catch you next time. Thanks again for joining me.